It was several years back. I was living on the other side of Lake Murray at a friend of mine's house. I rented part of it out. And he told me he was going to have a party one day. And one of the secretaries from his office was going to have her husband come to this party. And he come from New York. And my friend Mike said, I think you and he are going to get along very well. You want to say hello to him when he comes? I said, okay. Well, the truth is I really hadn't given it much thought from that time on. But the party happened a couple weeks later. We're in line waiting to get food. It was a buffet kind of food thing. And I hear somebody behind me, 3 or 4 people behind me, and I hear a very, very distinct New York dialect, which is very uncommon to Columbia, South Carolina. So I went, I bet that's the guy. It has to be the guy. So I look behind me and I go over to him. I said, hey, I said, how you doing? He said, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing? I said, well, I'm doing pretty good too. So that the both of us doing pretty good was good. Then we started talking about other things. But, something happens when I talk to a fellow New Yorker. My wife says it best. She says, it's like I change personalities. I put on a different swagger and, my attitude changes, my voice changes. I don't know why this happens. I really don't. So we're talking more. And he says, oh, what do people call you? I said, well, they call me Paulie Nine Toes. They call you Paulie Nine Toes, he says? I went, yeah, they call me Paulie Nine Toes. He said, well, why do people call you Paulie Nine Toes? Now here's what gets a little weird. Remember I told you, I did the little swagger thing? So I couldn't tell him the truth, so I made a story up. I've never told a story like this before this day. Have never told a story like this after this day. Why I told the story this day, I still do not know. But here's what I told him. I said, you want to know why they call me Paulie Nine Toes? He said, yeah. I said, well, when I was in New York, I got involved with some things. It was gunplay. And somebody shot at me and shot my toe off. He said, really? I went, yeah, really. Yeah. When I said really, it was like I was really lying. Nobody shot my toe off. So then it almost seemed right I had to ask him. I said, well, what do people call you? He said, they call me Johnny Eight Toes. I said, they call you Johnny Eight Toes? He said, yeah, they call me Johnny Eight Toes. And I said, why do they call you Johnny Eight Toes? He said, when I used to live in New York, I was involved in a drug deal, and I didn't have enough money to pay. And the drug dealer shot down at my foot, he said, mate, let this be a warning. He said, next time I'm going to kill you, but I need all my money. I said, and he shot 2 of your toes off? He said, yes. I said, Johnny, I said, would you mind taking your shoe and your sock off? I'd like to see this. So he goes to take his shoe and his sock off, and he only had 3 toes on 1 foot. Now I'm feeling real bad, where before I had the swagger, now I got like my tail tucked between my legs and my head looking down. I'm talking in a very gentle voice. And I said this, I said, Johnny? He said, yeah. I said, do you remember a little while ago I told you that I had 9 toes? He said, yeah, I remember. Well, I do have 9 toes, it's true. Do you also remember me saying that one of the toes was shot off? He went, yeah, I remember that. I said, that was a lie. I said, listen, I was a lie. I need to ask forgiveness, please. I said, really what happened was I got a little baby water blister on my last toe, and it popped, and it got infected. And me being a diabetic, that toe would not heal, and the doctor had to amputate it. I said, that's how I lost that toe. I said, could you ever forgive me? He said, sure, I forgive you. And then only as the New Yorker would say, he said, forget about it. So I went, well, okay. Forget about it. It's forgotten. So then I thought to myself, what are the odds that me, Paul Tibby, could be speaking to someone and for only one time lie about my toe, and the person that I'm speaking to has 2 toes shot off? And I love numbers. So I thought to myself, let me see, there's 7.5 billion people, and I think the odds are like 1 to 7.5 billion, with a B, billion. And I'll be honest, that's the last time I lied about my toe like that. I've never said that since. So anyway, God bless you. Hope you're doing well. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.